Alright, let's try this again. I recorded a video, but it was zoomed out, so you only saw like part of the screen. Forgive the background noise. The children are home, and you know, like herding cats, trying to get children to be quiet. So, anyway, basically, this is stratagem, and you can create a project. I think you said you already created one. But I created this one here. I gave it a due date, so it's January 1st or 31st of 2019. You can type in, you got description options, and I'll explain some of these. Like the owner, it doesn't show up. It just assumes the person creating it is the owner. Now, if you want to change that, you can come in here and let's assign you. I probably don't want to do that because I haven't assigned myself to it yet. But anyway, you can assign the owner to anybody, on the board. The project name, description. Max users is the max amount of users that could be assigned to a card at any given time. Right now, it's set to 6. You can have up to 10, or you can have a max of 1 if you want. Now, what private does is it keeps from people who aren't part of the project. And what I mean by who's not part of the project, that shows up over here in team, and I'll explain team here in a second. Auto color is for the background color of the columns, because right now with it off, when you create a new column, it's just going to be a white background. But if you come over here and you enable it, what it will do is it will take the name of the column and generate a color code from it. These are the same colors. Now, if I create a third column, let's just call it new column 3, it'll have a different color because it's a different name. So, or you can, I'll get more back to that here in a second. All right, where did you go? Over here. All right, I'm gonna move you back over here. Like I said, you can set the due date to the project here. Auto color, archive. You don't want to mess with archive until basically what archive does. But if you were to enable archive, then only the owner would be able to do anything inside the project, like add new cards, move cards, that kind of stuff. It will, even if they're part of the team over here on the team tab, and they have all permissions, they will only be able to view the columns. They won't be able to do anything with them. So this is a reserved feature for later on. Like if you want to keep the archive, keep it around for some reason, but you want it not to be adding new stuff to it, you can archive it. Badges are pretty self-explanatory. You create, you add one. You create, you add one. You create the color, that for it, or you can get rid of ones you don't like. You can delete them out. Now in teams here, there's a team member. There's 3 types of team members. There's member, an individual member, a group like a member group like administrators, moderators, I'm gonna screw this up. The HSDD guys. I think I said it right this time. I'm not sure. Or a product from Nexus, like say you start selling mugs or something, and you want feedback off the mugs. You can set the product because you have no products. It's going to say no results, but you have Nexus installed, so it's going to show it. The group, like I said, you can choose any group you want. Out of all the groups you have, you can choose any of these guys that you want, and then, or you'd say you want, individual member. Let's say I want to just add you. I just type your name in, choose you from the list, and now you got the permissions down here. Manage project settings. If you want people to be able to come in here and add team members or change names of the project, due dates, that kind of stuff, that's what excuse me, manage project does. Manage columns. This is managing columns, like being able to create new ones, move the columns, or delete them. That's what manage columns permission does. Add cards is as simple as it sounds. Do they have the ability to add a card? Due date cards. Do you want them to be able to assign a due date when they create a card or not? Assign cards. That's what this is. They can either assign it to themselves, or they can type in a person, from the team list over here. or they exist in one of the other team types, like if they're part of the group or whatever, it will only show those team members. It won't show everybody from the site. It will only show people who are listed in team, either individually, by group, or by product. So um, that's what that does. Add comments. There's comments on cards. Um, if you want to be able to leave a comment, you give them the permission, or otherwise you'll just be able to read the comments. Um, manage badges. That's where they can add a badge or remove a badge from a card. Delete comments. Now this is everybody. If you tell if you give them permission to delete comments, they can delete their own and others. There is no distinction between is this their comment or not. It's just can they delete comments. So I would consider that a moderator permission. Same with complete cards. Um, this won't show to them. The status will show, but the actual button for it won't be clickable for them. So you just save them. And it's supposed to take us back to the tab, but I think I got it named wrong. Yeah, it's supposed to be teams. But it shows, it has team in here. I got to fix that. So as you can see, it shows, the administrator group I've added to this project, and I've added you. Now, if, since you're both here and here in the administrator group, it's going to go off because that's how it stacks. It goes, user, group, and then the product. So since you're part of this group, so whatever permissions you have as Brenda, it will honor those before it honors the administrators. But if you weren't here, it would go based on the administrator. I hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but makes sense in my brain. But yeah, that's how you add members. Because I know one of your questions was you couldn't figure out how to assign roles. Well, you come over here, you edit the manage the project, and you add team members, and then you can, like I said, the roles are these here, the permissions, and there is no preset like administrator, moderator, member, that kind of thing. It's just you come in here and decide what permissions that you want to give them. So if you don't want them to manage the project, you tell them they can't manage the project. And then when you save it, it's supposed to come back over here to team. But yeah, that's pretty much what this is. And then you got to save any changes you made over here, and it will take you back to the front page. All right, now let's go over some of the basics of the columns. You can add as many columns as you like because it will just scroll them over here to the left. And I think I already went over the auto color. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I went over auto color with you. Now, if you don't want to auto color, but you want to choose your own colors, you can come over here to the column settings, go to change color, and change the color to whatever you want. And it will highlight appropriately. So if it's it contrasts the colors automatically. So if it's too dark of a color, it'll be white, and if it's too light of a color, it'll be black text, that sort of thing. From here, you can change the column's name if you want to. Now, automation, this is the cool feature about, here. You can automatically, any cards that are created or moved to this column, you can set how many days, once they've been created or moved to this column, are set to expire. So you want all cards that are moved here to expire in 7 days or to go overdue in 7 days. And you want, say, myself, Michael, you want it to automatically assign the card to me. You can have as many, like I said, you can have up to, by default 6, or you can set it to 1 to 10. So you want the card to assign to you, yourself and me. Change complete status, like if the card is created or moved here, and it might have a complete status, and you want all cards in that column to be not completed, so people know that they need to be working on them. You can come in here and tell it to automatically set the status to incomplete or incomplete. I don't know. I'm bad with English. So whatever, completed or not completed, what it should be. Badges, you could tell it to automatically set a badge, like so you want everything in the red column to be high priority. And now let's say it has other badges and you want it to remove all other badges. Right now you got to select it to tell it not to select.